All right. Hello, everyone. Our speaker today is Mr. Marcus Shoffner, who is the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at Venture Outdoors. Holding a degree in entrepreneurship from Western Carolina University, Marcus uses his skill set to create concepts and turn them into businesses. Upon graduation, Marcus entered the outdoor sector as the inaugural show manager for paddle sports retailer, currently known as the Big Gear Show, and managed the national trade for 3 years. Marcus relocated to Pittsburgh in 2018 and joined the Venture Outdoors team to activate his skill set on a local level. Soon after, he created the Outdoor Inclusion Coalition to lift marginalized voices in outdoor recreational spaces. Everyone, please give Mr. Marcus a warm welcome, and the floor is all yours.
Mr. Marcus.
Thank you. Hello, everyone in their virtual hands. I appreciate that. Pleasure to meet you all and to be in this space with you. I'm really looking forward to sharing my personal story and hopefully getting to know everybody else a little bit more as well. So structurally, if there are any questions during this presentation, feel free to stop me. I'm more than happy to answer any question that might pop up during this process. So with no further ado, my name's Marcus, like she said. I'm really looking forward to getting to know everyone. I'm the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for Venture Outdoors. And I'm going to share my story. So I like keeping everything a little bit fun and on your toes. So this is going to be I would say, non-traditional format. So you'll see some 10-year segments that I'll go into high detail with, but also really giving you an opportunity to learn about me personally and my trajectory to where I am now. So so the infamous picture that everyone wants to champion here, I will start with that. I am a twin. As you can tell, me and my brother Derek, we are identical twins, 8 hours apart. I always say that I'm the easy twin to get along with. He is the difficult one. We were born in Burlington, North Carolina. Everyone kind of recognizes that name primarily off of Burlington Coat Factory. If you have a jacket, you probably got it from Burlington. So that's kind of the rule of thumb. I have 2 siblings, my brother and an older sister. And we primarily focused on a non-traditional structure for our family. So to be very transparent, my dad wasn't around as a child. The male figure in my life was my grandfather, who really instilled the structure in myself that you'll see throughout this process. But I kind of owe all of my development to my grandfather. That was something that I kind of leaned on as I was growing, and being able to see his development personally and him shadowing me to be the individual that I am today. So the early 2000s, what a time for me. I was interested growing up primarily in sports and music. Growing up, our family was very involved in formalized recreation through all of the sports that you could think of. So anytime that I could pick up a glove or a football, my mother immediately put me in a team sport. So I've been kind of focused on that as a child, and the music aspect and the intersectionality between that. So music was very important in our family. It was really an outlet and a format for self-expression. As a child, I grew up playing the saxophone, which was extremely important for me for expression through jazz and the cultural aspects. As an African American, I found that very important. So family time for us was really informal, getting all together, barbecuing, tossing the pigskin, doing stuff that, just kids enjoy doing, and doing that with the immediate and extended family of our neighborhood. So growing up, in 2003, LeBron James was my idol. Needless to say, this is kind of a little homage to 2 of my favorite legends in life, LeBron James and obviously Drake, as you can see, 2 living legends that I thoroughly enjoy in my lifestyle. So music for me, very culturally taste, but Notorious B.I.G. and Ready to Die was important. Jay-Z, the Black Album, Kenny G. People don't understand Kenny G, but man, he could kill the saxophone, and that was really important to me. Charlie Parker as well. I see a lot of head nods. So jazz icons here. John Coltrane, very important as well as I developed. Two individuals that went through life at a different time frame, but expressed themselves through music was extremely important. Last but not least, a Southern aspect. I loved Outkast growing up. This was before Hey Ya. This was before Stank On Ya. This was all of the the important music that kind of shaped my lifestyle. So these were some of the, the key moments in the early 2000s. In 2010 and beyond, I really started to kind of plant my feet and grow, I would say. I graduated high school in 2011, and I'd say I became independent primarily off of that aspect of I took a gap year from high school to college. And that was not something that I originally planned to do. My mother had some incidents with her health, and family-wise, someone to step up and just kind of manage things at the moment. So I immediately entered the workforce out of high school and worked, endlessly to make sure that my family was supported, which I found extremely important, which was kind of a shift in how I viewed the success and kind of my trajectory. I mean, when I grew up, kind of going back to 2000s, I thought that, I was either going to be playing saxophone and be a musician, or I was going to be, an NFL legend. That was the two pathways for me. And to be very transparent, my family is someone that, directly, this is my cousin Alan, who plays for the Chargers. We grew up with the aspect of this is the pathway for success for us. And it was one of the two. And you can follow Keenan through multiple perspectives, his musical talent as well, from keyboard to vocally is extremely impressive as well. And that's kind of what we expected in lifestyle. So to be, very realistic, neither of those paths were something that I extended on due to the circumstances that I was in. So after that gap year for high school and college for me, I took a year off again and then went directly into college at Western Carolina. So my emphasis there was to make sure that I was still around immediate family. My brother, once he graduated high school, went directly to Western Carolina. And that was the top of mind for me, was making sure that I was still around the family and being able to support, whether that be emotionally or physically or financially, support my family as much as I could. So I went to college, and I would say kind of the grind continued for me. I made sure that I took a full course load, so 15 hours a semester, while also working 40 hours while being on campus. So I made sure that financially I could support myself, but also support any kind of unexpected circumstance that might pop up within my family. So that was extremely important for me. Once I graduated college, I had the opportunity to water/grow something, which was a business. So I kind of briefly touched on in my bio, I had the opportunity to work for an inaugural trade show called the Paddle Sports Retailer, but ultimately the Big Gear Show with a group of entrepreneurs that were extremely influential in my development personally and also professionally. So I was able to work on a national trade show, interact with people from around the globe to see outdoor equipment. And for me, that was, a light bulb moment, to be honest. I never thought that I would be directly in the outdoor industry from, a professional perspective. For me, I always thought that, again, it was only informal recreation for me, and more formalized recreation and informal for me was more of just leisure, going out and fishing with my grandfather, or finding those formats of community gatherings that really don't turn into financial gain. So once I found this opportunity and kind of airing on all of the experience that I had, I immediately took it and thought that, man, this would be great if I could find something that is outdoor specific. I can meet with people. I can have the outdoors as my office space. And that's really what it turned into. I found the opportunity to travel and see, landmarks in outdoor recreation that were super influential to me. So going through that, I had the opportunity again to travel and gain perspective and see the US in a perspective that I have never seen before. Growing up in Burlington, North Carolina, in such a small city that, primarily is focused on agriculture, being able to go to Seattle or Oklahoma City or Wisconsin or New York was something that, never even crossed my mind just due to, the level of interaction that I have with my own community at that point. So in addition to that, I had the opportunity to really discover my passions in that time frame. So my passions go, boundless and for miles, but realistically, I had the opportunity to engage in so many forms and fashions. So I enjoy doing things with my hands, making things and crafting things from nothing, but I also enjoy cheering people on and seeing accomplishments in multiple varieties, whether that be physically or mentally or even financially. But the picture that I'm showing here is I got the opportunity to work with P3R in the marathon to be a finish line coordinator specifically, in addition to what I do as a career, and cheer people on and give high fives. And I got paid to do that, to give high fives for people running, the 5K, half marathon, and full marathon, and to see kids finish, feats of fitness that should be applauded in every instance. So in addition to that, the opportunity to make stuff with my hands, I continue to kind of take what my foundation of life is set on, of just like continual grind, and turn that into a career as well. So in addition to what I do as a full-time job now, I also work with Wiggle Whiskey, which is super fun for me. The ability to be able to craft, a spirit and see it, grow and distribute is extremely important and fun to me. To take something from nothing and turn it into a liquid is extremely fun. So those are some of the milestones for that decade for me. And so for 2020, the pandemic, whatever you want to call it, you weren't able to do anything, but nonetheless, I found some avenues to be able to do something. So the emphasis of continual personal development is extremely important. And I found that, trying to take a passion that I have for multiple different sectors and turn that into something that I can grow on and have backup plans for whatever may occur in my lifestyle. I just immediately dived in and had the opportunity to be certified to be a CrossFit coach and a USA weightlifting coach. So fitness is kind of another pillar for myself, which you'll see later on. But I love working out on top of other things. I think, holistic health is extremely important for myself and for every individual.
I'm sorry, Mr. Marcus, your mic is cutting out a bit.
Yeah, it's going out for me too.
Yeah, so we just missed that. I mean, in the meantime, I'm trying to figure out if those are 45s or bumper plates, but either way, we want to make sure we can hear what you're saying. So
hopefully you can hear me now.
yes, we can.
Okay,
Thank you.
Cool. So I'll actually just pick back up where we started off. So 2020 for me, yes, that is 45s for one, but I really enjoy, being able to combine things that I'm extremely passionate about. So fitness is one of those things for me on top of everything that you've seen so far. And I've had the opportunity to be certified for a backup plan for whatever may occur in my life as a CrossFit coach and a weightlifting coach. So I think most importantly to myself is always trying to, hustle, but also have an opportunity for if anything happens, especially as we've experienced in the pandemic, there's something that I can fall back on for continued success. And on top of that, I have a picture here of everything that occurred with Wiggle as well. So one, just a shout out to them. They've had a great season here, not based off of, alcohol consumption or anything, but the emphasis that they've had on giving back to the community. So nonetheless, they had the opportunity to consistently create hand sanitizer for the community. And that's something that I'm extremely proud to be a part of, being able to create hundreds, thousands of gallons of hand sanitizer and distribute that to the community in need is extremely important and vital for the success and the safety of us all. So I was able to be a part of that within my tenure within the business. So happy to be a part of that process. All right, so today I am the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for Venture Outdoors. So previously I was with Venture Outdoors in multiple iterations. So at one point I was the college program coordinator and facilitating college programs with Venture Outdoors. At another segment, I was managing Kayak Pittsburgh and the 3 kayak concessions in Pittsburgh specifically. And now I am the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for Venture Outdoors. So what that means is I'm taking everything that I've learned and what you've seen so far with my own personal experience and turning that into something that I can share with the community, but also make sure that individuals that, recognize as me as a person of color don't have the experiences that I've seen and that I've had. So most importantly, reshaping how the community of outdoor recreation is seen, both professionally and recreationally, but also making sure individuals have the opportunity to witness and see the industry professionally way before I did. So as I told everyone earlier, like for me, the moment of like the light bulb and hey, this could be a career was in college. That to me is a little too late. I mean, I could have prepared for this, probably 5 or 6 years earlier if this was an opportunity that was present. So I'm reshaping that and making sure that the Pittsburgh community, young adults, youth have the opportunity to see the industry and hopefully be in a position like myself. So the things that define me and my character and me as an individual really kind of stem off of just reading, to be honest. Like I really enjoy reading. That's something that I find a passion in whenever I'm finding myself in spare moments, which are few and far between, but nonetheless, I read a book in 2016 called Chasing Excellence by Bergeron. More of a fitness slant, but it really shaped my life to where I am now. And the focus was making sure that you find 5 principles and 5 values that you're going to live by on a daily basis. So on top of reading and kind of journaling my life, I constantly come back to these 5 things and make sure that I'm executing on them at a high level. So 1, family first. Obviously, I think as you've seen through my lifestyle, I try to make sure that the emphasis on family security is top of key. That my family knows that I'm always here to support and make sure that safety is top of mind for them and they feel that. Additionally, humility, the ability to not only be broken, but also the ability to recognize that it's not just me that's making effects and changes in the community, that collectively, everything that I hope to do cannot be done alone, and that I need support and I need people to be able to help me and collaborate in this space to make this emphasis in this job that I have a realistic dream. The hunger as well. I mean, I can't say it enough, but I think the constant look for more, the constant look for betterment and improvement within yourself is something to be, top of mind and consistently thought of. For me personally, as I want to change and reshape how people of color are seen in the community and outdoor recreation, that takes a drive to be broken sometimes, to feel uncomfortable, but that hunger to hopefully change something for the better is something I continually strive to do. Curiosity, you need to have it, to learn, to be able to see new perspectives, to be able to witness something that, is unprecedented. As you can experience in the past year, COVID has affected us in multiple ways. And, no matter what the outcome is, the curiosity to hopefully find something, grow yourself, and the curiosity to dive in more for more information is something that's going to be key as we move forward through our lifetime. In health, I constantly want to be healthy. I constantly want to make sure I'm crossing off the T's dotting the I's on making sure I can physically, mentally, and emotionally be here at a drop of the dime, and for the longest time that I'm granted on this earth, no matter what. So those are the principles for me. The future, I'm really excited about. I mean, after 2020, we've had some ups and downs, locally and nationally and globally, but I'm really looking forward to elevating people of color in our experience. I want to make sure that the outdoor job and that industry is reshaped to welcome, invite, and make sure that we feel the sense of financial security within the industry. And I want to be allies for young adults and visionaries. I remember the times where I had, the 10-year dream and the master plan of my life, but I didn't always have someone there to champion that or help me get to that point. So I want to fill that gap based off of my own experience and make sure that if anyone has a dream, that we can make sure that, it's realistic and we can attain that, and I can champion you and your dream, as hard or as cheerleaderish as I can. So nonetheless, that's my future goals. I'm sure more things will pop up as we continue to move through the year and, I come back and reshape things, but that is me, my life in a nutshell, and I'm happy to answer any questions. The floor is everyone's at this point.
What's your favorite part about being outside?
Oh, good question. I really like commuting. So I have a bike and I really enjoy using it in as many ways as possible. I live in, a localized area where I'm able to commute really anywhere. So the ability to do that and save money on my car and gas is great, but also just the ability to stay healthy in that process as well is really key. So I love biking. Do you have a preference as well?
What do you mean, my favorite thing to do outside?
Yeah.
Me, I would say I like to shop. Oh, is that outdoors? Okay, no, okay.
Outdoor malls, right? Farmers market.
Oh, well, I
Plenty
play
of things.
sports. Can that be a part of outside?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I play a lot of sports.
Great. What?
They have outdoor shopping at the outlet.
We'll count that.
I play volleyball and soccer. Somebody
Awesome.
enter that in the chat.
Awesome.
So we have a question from Michael in the chat. He asked, do you plan on expanding your work outside of Pittsburgh or just staying local for now?
Yeah, great question. So I have a 10-year plan of kind of what my goals are. I think for me, I'm very structuralized and I like, being able to envision myself a few years after this. But needless to say, I do think that this is going to be, the project that I'm working on with the Outdoor Inclusion Coalition is going to be larger than just Pittsburgh. I am going to be localized and emphasizing equity in the outdoors and inclusionary principles to make sure people of color feel welcome outside here in Pittsburgh. But I think 10 years from now, I see that reaching, a broader audience and a larger population outside of Pittsburgh as well.
Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Marcus, rather? Lo asked Marcus, what book or books are you reading right now?
I should have known that would be from Lo, right? Right now, man, I'm reading Ezra Klein, the Hate on Us, and I'm reading. Sorry, I'm just reaching around. I have a full library on the side of my desk, but I'm reading James Baldwin as well. So all of his memoirs, which are really important. I would definitely advise anyone who hasn't read James Baldwin to dive in that, especially if you want to hear the Black perspective, do that. So yeah, that's what I'm reading right now. I love reading, as Lo would say. We exchange some books. So we have a lot of fun with that.
Danielle asked, what genre is that book?
James Baldwin or the Ezra Klein book?
I think she was talking about the first one.
Oh, okay. Oh, the first one, they're both nonfiction books. So for James Baldwin, it's really a memoir. So you should check that out. It's an experience that he had in New York through all of his books and all of his memoirs. So.
Cool. Another question for you. What are some of the unexpected benefits of being outside that you found? You know, things that you might not have said, like, oh, this makes a difference for me, but after the fact, like, oh wow, yeah, huge.
Yeah, I think for me, the ability to unplug when I'm outside is really key for me. I mean, my life, and I'm sure everyone here on this opportunity has the same experience of life just comes at you so fast, and sometimes you just get wrapped up in whatever's going on, whether that be the social climate that's occurring or even just work. And the ability to go outside and, you know, leave my phone at home or just use my phone to listen to music and engage in the green space allows me to just take that reset. It allows me to like take a step back, engage with where I am from a perspective of, you know, being whole and having the holistic moment. And that's the benefit for me. And that's, again, just kind of my perspective. There's a ton of other benefits that I'm sure individuals feel when they're in green spaces. But for me, I just need that time, that space, and that freedom to be able to unplug and engage in something that, you know, has holistic benefits. And that's what the green spaces do for me.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Any questions for Mr. Marcus? My dog has a question for you, apparently. She's asking, what was that? Oh,
there is
you know,
another question. Maybe I missed it. I don't know.
Just
was
popped
this
in.
yours, Michael? Do you have any advice for high schoolers who want to start their own business? I mean, just considering we finished an entrepreneur competition, yes, this is a great question.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So at least from my standpoint and having, you know, an entrepreneurship degree and that drive to, you know, at one point I wanted to create a business, kind of the Outdoor Inclusion Coalition, that branch of things is like a visionary sign of business. I would say, you know, constantly think of where do I want to be and continue to drive for that. I mean, there's going to be bumps in the road and there's going to be seconds where you're like, I need to revamp things. But nonetheless, if you have a long-term vision and where you want to be, strive for that. Find people that are going to be in your corner, that'll mentor you, support you to get to that standpoint and keep going. I mean, there's always, like I said, there's always moments in life where, you know, you get down or you don't realize that, you know, this is just a moment. Life is a series of moments. So, you know, just think the long road, the long distance, and the long game here, and you'll make it.
What do you find is the biggest challenge you run up against in the outdoor industry, whether it's, you know, has to do with engaging with young people or, you know, being a person of color in the industry? What do you think is the biggest hurdle you've had to overcome and the biggest challenge you encounter?
Yeah, great question. So statistically, I think we should start there and say that people of color professionally are less than 10% of the workforce within the outdoor industry. So to me, that is an immediate concern because one, we're just not represented and we're not in the spaces to be able to make policy decision and procedure that's going to run businesses, which, to be very transparent, that is a level of exclusion that, again, perpetuates the will of us not being invited and thought of for the long term. So I would say that's the most baseline thing is I enter spaces and I'm the only one, or you know, me and someone else are the only one out of 100. And statistically, that is a fact. I think now that there's been, you know, a cultural awakening of like, hey, this is socially unacceptable to be able to, you know, exclude people intentionally or unintentionally, that people are now allowing or inviting people of color into the space, and it's our opportunity to change this for the future. And I think that's the emphasis and the hope that I continue to place into individuals and peers around me is, socially, this is the moment for change. And it's our responsibility to take that and to prepare a future for young adults like the ones that are in the room today.
Thank you. And one question that I have actually, so I try to ask this question for someone from every industry that we speak with, but I know that, you watch CSI and you think that, there you can just enhance. Whether it's movies or TV shows or, I'm thinking like Call of the Wild and, 700 Hours or whatever it is, that there are always things that, people in the industry watching that show or movie would say, that's not realistic. Is there anything that just movies and TV just get wrong about, being outside for extended periods of time, whether it's, how easy it is to start a fire or how, whether a tent will protect you from harsh weather, anything that's just like that, there's no way that's right.
That's a great question. I'm going to harken back to, has anyone seen The Revenant before? Okay, yeah, I'll just on that and go ahead and say, like, for one, the actual account of that individual, about like 60% of that is false information. I mean, yeah, the individual did get bit by a bear. That's true. But there's a lot of stuff in terms of the survival of Leonardo DiCaprio. I can say that's not realistic. So don't prepare yourself for moments like that. Prepare yourself to, pack the right gear because it's publicly available. So keep that in mind. And also you should definitely stay away from people like Tom Hardy, so whoever, or you should avoid those. So yeah.
Thank you. Danielle had a question in the chat. Did Venture Outdoors, did your business ever have to close because of COVID? How has COVID affected y'all?
Yeah, good question. So COVID has definitely affected us in multiple perspectives. I wouldn't say we scaled back, not fully closed. So I think the most important thing for Venture Outdoors and the organization that we're extremely proud of is we had no layoffs. We kept the full staff, which was extremely important for us and the stability of the organization. What we did was we scaled back the offerings just to make sure we complied with everything that was going on with the county and the city. And tried our best to service people where they are. So specifically transitioning to what we're doing now, everything's cyber. If we can teach people how to build tents over cyber classes, let's do that. If we can teach outdoor survivor skills through cyber, let's do that as well. So we made do, and I think we came out, we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel like a lot of other businesses, but nonetheless, we've made it this far and we're really happy to see the success and the engagement that we had with the community through cyber, and also just the ability to offer options that aren't cyber. So like we had some printout packets that we distributed and provided to CDCs and local community groups to make sure that the barriers that are inherently present, whether that be through the inability to have access to internet or other barriers such as mobility and travel, that those were minimized as much as we could. So yeah, we're happy to make it this far. We're really looking forward to whatever 2021 brings us. But I think similar to other organizations and other businesses, this time really reshaped the organization. And I think we're really happy with the outcomes that we've had and really looking forward to what we can provide in addition for 2021.
And to tack on to Danielle's question, is there anything that any practices you've adopted during COVID or anything that's changed that you think you're going to maintain once, we're able to go back in person and, kind of reduce these restrictions, once we're in the after times? Yeah. Is there anything you've adopted that you think you'll keep doing that you only started because of COVID?
Yeah, I think personally for me, one, transitioning and working from home was something that I was used to already. So that wasn't a big difference. I felt very comfortable in doing that. But the thing that I definitely will keep is just the intentional engagement of stepping away from my computer and going for a walk midday, or just taking that time to turn off all my technology and just sit in silence. Because, I mean, we know data-wise and statistically, and even through studies, that this level of engagement, 8 to 10 hours of staring at a screen isn't that good for you. So you need to have that mental reset, that time away. And I've found ways to do that fit my lifestyle. And again, that's sitting in silence, whether that be in a dark room or, just sitting here playing with my dog or going for a walk type of ordeal. And I think that's going to be something that it's going to stick with me for the lifetime of my professional career.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, we do a lot of talk and a lot of work on self-care and that kind of thing, and especially focused on it in the last year. So it's nice to hear that that's important for that's something that other people are focusing on too. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any more questions? Anybody? All righty. Well, if I could have if not cameras on, at least mics unmuted, big round of applause and thank you to Mr. Marcus for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have an absolutely wonderful weekend. I hope you get out of that board meeting early enough to enjoy some of that sunshine we've all been waiting for.
Yeah,
And
sure.
and
Good stuff.
CEOs, keep in mind, we are working on partnering with Venture Outdoors to do some, to get in on some of their programs this summer. So, yeah, I'm really amped about it because it'll be an excuse for me to get out of the house at the very least. So, so if you are interested at all in trying to venture outside of your bubbles, I didn't mean for that to be a pun, to venture outside of your bubbles, but they will be coming back. And yeah, thank you so much again. I hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, guys. We really appreciate it. This is
Thanks,
great.
Marcus.
Yeah, thanks,
you.
everyone. Pleasure meeting everyone and being in the space. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Danielle, Michael, and Trinity,